Hello everyone, GoodraFTW here, and welcome back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I know the videos for this game are a little few and far between, but honestly there's not really a lot going on that I'm able to do that is new. However, we do have new stuff on the way. Darth Revan has been confirmed along with some reworks on a few other characters. So we're going to go look at our Old Republic characters here. So, Darth Revan is on his way in opposition to Jedi Knight Revan. So, very similar legendary character. And you need Karth, Nasi, Juhani, Canderous Ordo. And then the two other characters you need are actually the two that are getting reworked, which is Bastila the Fallen and HK-47, who currently does not hold an Old Republic tag. Speculation is they'll probably add it, which I'm sure they will. But I want to kind of just talk about what I think is almost an issue with how legendary characters have been released as of late. And it mostly goes back to the it goes back to Revan, and if we think of Chewbacca and not as much as the Ewoks, but here the past few characters it's been a little rough. Well, I guess no, never mind. Because the Revans are a different story than like 3PO and what's his name? Chewie. Sheesh. So these events, the Revan events, have been more akin to almost heroes' journeys than they have been legendary events. So I think that's where I'm making the disconnect. But it's getting to the point where it just seems like it's almost like a cash grab, and not a very good cash grab, because what is happening is they release a bunch of marquee characters, right? So we used to have a problem with the amount of marquee characters coming in and out of the game, and now it seems that we're starting to have issues with what are they referring to these events as? I know it's not. I don't guess it's legendary events. There was actually an actual name for the Old Republic events. I don't remember what they were. And I watched the trailer for Darth Revan being announced. He's probably coming out very soon. I would say within a week or so. But I watched the trailer, and the trailer looks awesome. Like the one that EA put out, it looks awesome. And it's like, hey, Darth Revan's coming. Come play the game. But the problem is, you can't get him as soon as you come into the game. It's a little misleading in a way, because yeah, you can buy all the way to 7 stars for every single character that is needed, but a big issue with that is you still have to level up all the way to level 85 to probably complete the event, which for newer players isn't going to be that great. And here lately, and I know I might just sound like a whiny free-to-play player, but they've not really accommodated the free-to-play player base that great here in recent memory. I know it's very, very possible, and in some ways, for some people, it is easy to 7-star all these characters in plenty of time, because some people started working on them as soon as they came out. As soon as they were available for free-to-play, people started working on them because they speculated and they got their prediction right that Darth Revan was coming down the line, so we need to go ahead and farm him. But the problem was they may have had to farm Ewoks, they may have had to farm better bounty hunters, because the Chewbacca event was a little difficult, especially for just using the available free-to-play bounty hunters that they had at the time. right? Obviously, you could farm up and spend some money to get Embo and Aura Singh and Jango Fett. The better bounty hunters in the Aura Singh's maybe not a better bounty hunter, not for events particularly. For raids, definitely, as long as there's a topple phase. But essentially, it's creating an environment. It's creating a gameplay style that you always have too much to do at any given time, and it's gotten to a point where I myself I don't care about Revan at this point, because I've been trying to farm for Jedi Knight Revan, and I didn't farm him in enough time to get him this past go around. I didn't get all my Ewoks farmed to get C-3PO to 7 stars. I was going to make a video on that, but I only got him to 6 stars, so it wasn't really that big of a deal, and I didn't really care that much. But it's gotten to the point where the meta right now is so heavily skewed towards these kind of unbeatable teams, unless you have the same unbeatable team or a direct counter, which I guess doesn't make it unbeatable, but for a vast majority of like lower end players, it creates a very large skill gap and almost a paywall. I know that's kind of a taboo word, but it creates a big gap between your player base. And I know my brother is he doesn't play this game that much, because, and I'm starting to get to this point as well, but it's just to the point where we're not having fun playing the game anymore, right? Because everything's just such a slog. And I still log in every day. I get all the stuff. I do everything I need to do, contribute to the guild, all that good stuff. And I'm sure everyone does. But when you release things the way that they've been released lately, like I was saying, it just creates this tension almost, because you constantly have to be farming something. And I saw a comment, I don't know if it was in the forums or if it was on a video or something, but someone was complaining the exact same thing. It's like, I just have too much to farm all the time, right? Because you had to have all the Old Republic characters as soon as they came out. You had to work on those because we had Darth Revan coming. Or not Darth Revan, but Jedi Knight Revan. And then before Jedi Knight Revan, or like right after Jedi Knight Revan was released, they released all these other Old Republic characters, and they had Bastila Fallen and Canis Ordo, and they're like, oh gosh, we gotta farm these guys too. So then you kind of take resources away from people who are farming, and I don't place highly in Arena, and that creates another skill gap there. I don't place highly in Arena, so I don't get as many crystals as some of the higher end players in the Arena, and so I'm not able to keep up with the gear grind, and I'm not able to keep up with the farming for farming meta characters, which has put me behind. I constantly have to battle Revan teams just to make it into the top 200 on Arena, and most days I don't get to that top 200 because mostly because I'm busy and I don't really care that much for Arena, just because of how unfun the meta is, right? We're gonna take a break from Galactic War here real quick, because I want to just I want to look at the top teams, and I guarantee you the top 10 will be at least 70%. At least 70% Revan. Guaranteed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 8 is Atreya, and then 9 and 10. So 90%, 9 out of 10 of the top 10, out of the top 10 teams are Revan teams, and they're all the same. I guarantee it, they're all the same, right? Revan, Yoda, Jolee, Kenobi, Bastila. Okay, that was number 14. All right, yep, same lineup. Right? So they're all using the same characters. Okay, this isn't. Oh, we have a difference. We don't have a Bastila. We have a Hermit Yoda. All right, so there are very slight variations in a lot of these teams. Here we don't have Jolie. We have Hermit Yoda. So I mean, it's not creating a diversified metagame. And I know you got to power creep in order to push product, but. And I don't have the data for like conversion of free-to-play players into players who spend money on the game, but I would love to be able to see that figure, because one thing they need to keep in mind is you need to be able to bring in new players, right? Because eventually people who do well out in the game, they're not going to pay at some point. Eventually they will quit the game. Not all of them, and maybe not even most of them, but there are going to be numbers of big spenders who quit the game or are unable to play the game at some point in time in their lives. So you kind of have to make sure that you are making the playing field, the skill gap and the pay gap between catching up from starting brand new and catching up to these players. You have to make it manageable to a degree, because you do want to convert those free-to-play players into more paying customers. And right now, I don't want to spend money on this game. There was a time where I wish I could have spent money on this game, and maybe they did bring out some new stuff that wasn't as grind heavy, because they brought the Droideka and the B1 in marquee events. And marquee events are a good way to obtain characters. But unless you are constantly farming something, it's kind of just, I don't know where I'm going with this exactly. Like, unless you're constantly farming something, you're not really going to get anything out of an event, is how it is so far. Because the marquee events are just to obtain new characters, right? You only get them at 3 stars maximum unless you fork out some more money. And lately, the legendary events is you've had to farm something, and let me tell you, the farm for the bounty hunters is not too bad, because in here we have Boba Fett. I don't think we have any other bounty hunters in here. Yeah, we have Boba Fett in here. In the arena store we have Greedo, so that's 2 in here. Do we have any bounty hunters in here? We have Cad Bane, who is iffy. We also have IG-88 in the arena, right? And then everything else shows up in the various other stores. But a big problem with a lot of this, a lot of farming, is maybe you have your resources split between 2 different characters you might need to farm. Now, one example here is specifically IG-88 and Greedo, right? Now, I know IG-88's not really useful at the moment. He definitely fits a bounty hunter role, but there are much better bounty hunters to fill that spot. But if you go into like the guild store, right? If you go in here and look, see, we only have Zam showing up right now. This is the only place. I'm pretty sure this is the only place that you can spend free-to-play currency to get Dengar. We're going to double check. I don't think you can farm him on any nodes. But I think the guild store is yeah, there's no nodes to actually farm Dengar. And that's been a problem, because for C3PO I've had to wait. I've been trying my best and my hardest to get Logray, but because he is pretty essential for doing the tier 7 of the 3PO event, right? And I just, for the life of me, I can never get lucky enough to have Logray shards in my guild store, right? And then there's also the gear grind between all of these characters, because I have to try to keep up the best I can with the meta and dump all my gear. I've been dumping gear into 3PO. I've been dumping gear into Chewbacca. I've had like CLS and Han gear 12 for a little bit, and I also use Thrawn. I've had him at gear 12 for a little bit, right? But it's like a balance between trying to keep up with the meta and then making sure you're prepared for further things. And maybe I just need to better allocate my resources Maybe it's just me or something, but I'm sure there are other people who are feeling somewhat similar to this. But like another farming thing that really agitated me in regards to Revan, right? So right here, you have to farm T3M4 to 7 stars in order to get Revan. The problem is you also need Mission Val, who is in here somewhere. It's gonna be last. She's gonna be the last one I click on. Yep. You also need Mission Val here, and it's I don't know. I think I'm just really unlucky with drop rates, but it took me at least 2 to 3 months to farm Mission Val from this node. I just only recently was able to start farming on T3M4, which was real fun, as you can imagine, right? And then you have to balance between where do you farm Jolie Bendo, right? Because he is available in one of these places. I don't know if it's Dark Side. I guess it is Dark Side, right? I think he's in 9. No, he's in here somewhere. 7. Nope. 6. There he is. Right. So you have to balance farming him in various different places, right? And right now I've been trying to work on Wicket because I didn't have him to 7, and he's pretty necessary to complete the 3PO event, right? So I'm having to farm between Wicket and Jolie, and then so in order to farm Wicket and farm Jolie, I had to go to the Fleet Arena instead of using the Dark Side node for Jolie, and this is a slog because the energy doesn't refresh quickly enough, just like it does in Cantina. So it's gotten to the point where players who aren't able to acquire larger amounts of resources are having to I almost feel like I'm gonna have to play this game like I play some of my other mobile games and play in like quote unquote seasons, right? So I just pick something and I just stick to that. I ignore everything else and I just do that until something comes along where I'm able to do it, put all my effort into it, and just come back full force at a later date, right? Now, I did that with Dokkan, right? I just logged in every day until something exciting came along. They finally dropped like the movie bosses. I got it, or not just movie bosses, the movie heroes and villains and stuff. And I just I got real interested in that, and it got me back into Dokkan. And I've kind of been off and on with Duel Links, right? There's formats where I'm like, oh yeah, this is really fun, and there's formats that's like, well, there's nothing I can really do. So it's getting to the point where this game is going to be like that, and it sucks because I've played this game for so long. I enjoy the core gameplay and the collecting aspect of the game, but keeping up in the arena is just such a difficult slog when you can't effectively and efficiently get to where you're going. And I know this has just pretty much been a rant and me complaining, and I apologize for that, but let me know if you guys are in the same boat as me, because it just feels like we're being over-farmed constantly. I'm really hoping that soon they'll bring a character or an event of some sort where veteran players who've been around for a while actually already have the stuff needed to do it, right? Because like when R2 came out, right? R2 needed certain characters, or R2 needed characters that a lot of people were already farming to begin with, Empire characters, right? And the same was true for Emperor Palpatine and Yoda when those events first came out. They were actually already units that everyone pretty much had farmed enough already, and it wasn't seen as a big cash grab. I think they need to go back to that core aspect of making sure events are accessible to the vast majority of people from the get-go, instead of, if you're free to play, you have to farm your life away, or you have to spend some money to catch up. Because if that's the mentality going forward, then this game is heading in some really dark directions, because I think there's going to be oversaturation with the amount of farming that's going to need to be done at some point. But that's all I got. I need to quit before I just continue to ramble. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Am I just being a baby? Just let me know. But thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.